Hi, everybody. This is David Johnston. I'm the founder of Transcend Admissions, and welcome to Transcend Talks, where we invite some of our previous clients and ask them to reflect on their graduate school experiences and how that has influenced their career so far. And we're really honored today to have an outstanding previous client named Alvin Hsieh, who
Hello.
used an MBA to transition from pure engineering to business, maybe a mixture of business and engineering or operations engineering. So how about I let Alvin introduce himself?
Hello. My name is Alvin, and I originally got my bachelor and master degree in Taiwan, and they are electrical engineering focus. And I worked as an engineer in Taiwan for around 4 years in Fastcom. Yeah, I was a cell phone engineer at the time, and then I start transition to the MBA student in Arizona State. And after that, I got my first job at Facebook as a associate slash vendor kind of manager. Yeah. So, and then it kind of gradually transferred from that to my current job at Amazon. And right now I'm like a global commodity manager for Amazon consumer product, mainly on the connectivity chips. It means like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or the mobile chips.
Thanks, Alvin. But let's just go back to 10 years ago, going back to the original motivation. You were kind of the
Yeah.
typical hardware engineer.
Yeah.
How did you get this idea that you wanted to get an MBA in the first place?
Yeah. So I was like I mentioned, right? I was study all the electrical engineering for like 4 years in bachelor degree and then 2 years at master degree. And then I was an engineer for 4 years, right? So you can imagine I kind of spent almost like 10 years on electrical engineering focus. A lot of my time was actually spent with machine or like a test lab, right? And those are like quite clear, like black and white. You can get an answer like yes or no, right? And but a lot of time I kind of miss the opportunity to kind of interact more with people, right? I was at some point like stuck in the lab for like the whole weeks to solve one of our FN radio or like a GPS issues, right? And it was not a very enjoy enjoyable moment for me. For me, I feel like I want to be like more like social with folks, and I want to like interact with others, right? So I feel like as the MPA can enable me to kind of be more business oriented, and I can be a focal point to interact with the different kind of backgrounds people. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And I think you've been able to do that. But just again, going back 10 years ago, you're not the person who quit their job to study for GMAT or anything like that. It was a tough time for you, I think. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
do you have any memories from that time
Yeah.
when you were
Yeah.
applying?
Gradually, when I worked in my 4 years at engineer, I kind of figure out, okay, I more and more I want to be the business person instead of like purely engineer, right? But it's like you say, it's really hard to make that call to quit a job, right? So initially, I kind of do the half-ass style. So I kind of like prepare English, study English during the nap or lunch time, right? At FastCon, you do have a 1 hour and have to finish your lunch or take a nap. But then I feel like the progress was too little, right? And it so I did join the GMAT, I think it's A2 GMAT, right? I think the first result was like okay, it was not like meet my bar, right? So at the end
Mm.
I do need to quit my job and kind of really focus and push myself to excel, right? So I think at some point like people have to be more determined on what exactly you want, right? If you
Mm.
cannot get the result you want by working and then study part-time, then at some point you need to make that call.
And then after you applied, among the choices, you got into Arizona State, which
Yeah.
is pretty well known for operations and supply chain.
Yep.
And I think thought that may be a good fit for your future career goal, right?
Yeah. So that's one thing I think we need to like. I think everyone understand, right? You need to study before. You need to study the schools and then find the best school for you. So I do some study and I found the employment company at ASU kind of align with what I want, right? Their top employer was like Amazon and like what Apple's, right? And then what else was the time? It was a long time ago, right? But Amazon, Apple, and Dell. So I know, okay, if I got an MBA, then it will be a good transition for me because I was working with those companies before MBA, and once I got an MBA, I got a credential to transfer to the customer side, right? So it's like I think everyone need to study what is the best for them, right? For me, I feel like the school will enable me to transfer to the position I want going forward. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then one thing I can highlight is like I see like ASU is quite generous to give the scholarship for the full-time MBA. It's not like I don't think they kind of broadcast this on their website, but as soon as I joined, I figure out okay, like probably like half or more than half of international students got some sort of like partial or full scholarship. So if you got a good Gmail or and if ASU can provide you the future job pass, it's a good return on investment to apply for a school they can kind of subsidize or full sponsor your MBA. Yeah.
And I can say that after you went to ASU, they started giving even more money to the admitted students. I think they had a very big endowment, and for a few years there, they gave 100% tuition to every student, I think.
Before I graduate, we actually got a new business school like buildings. It was like probably twice bigger than the one we had, right? So they got a good alumni and a lot of like a donation from their alumni. Yeah. So it's a healthy school. Yeah.
Okay, so you heard it here. Arizona State has plenty of money, everyone. But
yeah,
regarding the education, is there anything like you can tell us about this business school? Anything that stands out?
Yeah. So even though this is a MBA school, right? But you need to understand it's a very small, close-knit environment, right? I remember when I studied, each year we only have like probably 75 to 80 students, right? And a lot of like top 10 or top 15 school, they have more than 200, 300 per year, right?
Or more.
So yeah, so there are pros and cons for like small setting versus like large school, right? So the small one means that you can literally like get to know each other very well, right? And then also the school resource can be well kind of applied to each of us, whether you are international or domestic, right? So there are some on the free side because it's a small schools, so maybe a lot of company they might not come to us for hiring, right? Because like think about if you are Facebook or if you are a big company like Apple, right? You probably want to throw your resource on the major school. They have a lot of potential candidates for you, right? So like 75 student is not probably not a good hit for them, right? So there are good pros and cons, and the other thing I want to highlight is like ASU is very supply chain operation focused, right? So if you want to say you want to do entrepreneurships or you want to do financial or consulting, then you probably should look for other alternative schools. Yeah. But if you want to be operation or supply chain or sourcing focus like me, then this is a very good choice. Yeah.
Can you tell me, so what makes them strong in this area? What can they offer people that I have this interest?
ASU has a very big business like student pools, right? That means they have a lot of great professors as well. and they throw a lot of resource to hire some of the best professors on the supply chain and operation from all the areas. Yeah, because they got a lot of student on the undergraduate, so they can afford to hire a lot of great professor. So we do learn a lot, and I even got a chance to visit a lot of good companies. Yeah, right. So because of some of our like curriculum, so we was get a chance to visit the one of the Amazon fulfillment centers, right? We can physically go inside and ask question to the Amazon employee at the moment. It was the real eye-opening experience for me, right? So on other schools, they will probably focus more on consulting. So if you want to do operation, then you might be put on the sideline, right? They might not put all the emphasis on the folks they want to do operation, right? So and as an international student, like if you apply for MBA, you might not know that, but once you get into the US MBA, right, like you will figure out like some of the area might be difficult to get the full-time job, right? Like it might be fancy for international student to study like marketing, for example, right? A lot of time, even you got the top 10 or top 20 school and marketing emphasis, you will end up get a job in Asia instead of staying in US, right? So there's another things I can highlight is like supply chain or operation is uprising areas, right? And it was not the like for the international student, you kind of have a very level ground like battlefield, right? You can compete with domestic folks, and you can win by other like advantage, right? Like analytical skills or like other and even the language might be a benefit, right? Because you can speak like multiple language, right? And then a lot of time supply chain means you need to manage your downstream supplier, and a lot of supplier manufacturing supplier was in Asia. It's kind of cool. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay, so you won this battle, is that's what you're saying, right?
I think I won. I can tell you why I won the offer, full-time offer for Facebook, right? So the secret I won the offer was because they are the company Facebook, they are trying to develop their own cell phone, right? So they want to build a Facebook phone, and they want someone has MBA degree focus on supply chain, so he can help them manage the Asian suppliers. And ideally, this guy can also speak like Mandarin or understand how to design mobile phones, right? And I hit all the must have and then good to have, right? So basically I hit 4 out of 4, right? I can speak Mandarin. I know how to design a mobile phone, and I got an MBA and emphasize in supply chain management, right? So yeah, a lot of time, like I just want to let all the MBA students know, like you might be struggle initially to find a internship or a full-time job, but if you keep trying, if you trying hard, eventually you will get a good rewards, right?
And a lot of people are trying to use an MBA to make a career change, but still your pre-MBA experience and education often really matters, right?
Yes.
It's not like irrelevant anymore. You're still getting jobs and promotions often because of that knowledge.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, right? You can fully transfer to a new territory with the credential like from MBA, right? But a lot of time you need to think what will be the best for you, right? So for me, I can easily right now I can easily get a pure operation job, and that won't require my engineering background, right? But then I might not get as high or as a good total compensation as I'm getting now, right? So with like if you have multiple skill set, right, the chance are you got you are like kind of hard look after on the market, right? So people will willing to pay higher like compensation for these type of folks, right? So you can definitely make the transition, right? But it's really at the end of the day, it's like what you really want.
But still, I think you're actually interested, you're still interested in the engineering side. You don't want to be a pure engineer, but you're actually still interested in those things.
Yeah. So before I apply for MBA, I think a lot of MBA, I think almost all MBA school will ask you why MBA and what you want to do after MBA, right? So I kind of ponder through that, and with some help from David to punish
A
my
little bit.
work a lot. But the main soul was I want to like leverage my engineering background and then become a hub between the Asian contract manufacturer with the West side the customers, right? So it means like I want to be the bridge of between like for example Foxconn or TSMC with US company like Amazon, Apple, or Facebook, right? And that means that you are the supply chain manager or commodity manager, right? Or vendor associate manager, right? Or you can be on the contract manufacturer side, like Foxconn, and you can be a sales account manager, right? So you will interact, you become the focal point to interact with your customers, right? So I feel MBA can enable me to do either one of them, and I end up doing on the customer side. Yeah.
I have to say, when a lot of people write their career goals in the MBA essays, they're often very sincere. That's what they want to do. But if you look a few years later at the job they're
Yeah.
actually doing, it's usually a different job. But I have to
Yeah.
say that Alvin is one of these people doing exactly the job that he predicted in his MBA application, which is amazing and very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's always plenty of engineers who are interested in getting MBA. So
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
those people out there who are maybe aren't sure, or maybe they are sure, but they're just trying to
Yeah.
think about how to get started, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah. So I think that one is like assuming we are talking about the MBA in US or UK, right? And I think the first thing is that I know a lot of engineering background folks in Taiwan, they are not that focused on polishing their English skill, right? It's that matter is like reading, listening, or writing or speaking, right? I think you need to be determined and willing to spend time, invest yourself, and make yourself comfortable live in a all English environment. The other thing is like I think like what I said before, like you need to be comfortable like to deal with people issues and instead of like stay with the equipment or testing lab or machines, right? Because a lot of engineers they feel dealing with folks is a headache for them, and they would rather spend time to solve like fine tune the machine or fine tune the testing result, right? With the lab, right? Yeah. If you want to pursue your MBA, I would say like you need to be a little bit talkative, so you can because a lot of time MBA was case study, right? And if you are too silent, then you won't get the best benefit out of it. Yeah, you need to, and English is one tool for sure. You need to feel comfortable to leverage that tool, and then be comfortable to talk with people and then cooperate with people, right? Then you will gain a lot of like knowledge and experience from MBA, and that will help you excel your career goal eventually. Yeah.
So they might not be extroverts, but they at least need to think whether they're comfortable there and just try
Yeah.
to push themselves more
Yeah.
to not only be
Yeah.
able to communicate in English, but just to be like, to think, is that really what I want? Do I really want to be part of case study discussions and more teamwork? And if that's
Yeah.
really what they want, they get
Yeah.
mentally prepared for that, right?
Yeah, if you are like patient or if you feel you want to solve people issues, right, and on top of the engineering questions, right, then this might be a good fit, right? But if you really feel you are really good at solving engineering question, then and then you can excel by doing this with the lab by yourself, then I would say maybe you should consider the PhD, right? Engineering PhD, and that will help you also got a good job and high paid job and you will be able to stay in US if that is what you want, right?
And
Yeah.
talking about studying MBA, now that you think back about your MBA education and your career now, what do you think's like something that's really important that you learn that you use every day?
Yeah. So I think like in MBA I learned a lot of like fancy terms on the operation side, right? Because I'm working on the operation, right? And those kind of help me kind of hone my thinking, my mindset, and they help me kind of doing my day-to-day job as well, right? Yeah, and those are the things I learned from the MBA. Yeah, and then also I think like the MBA gives me kind of the well-rounded supply chain concept, like from the logistic side, like inshore sourcing, also outshore, offshore sourcing, and then like a CM versus OEM or ODM model, right? And also like I think the school also teach us the MPI phase versus sustaining phase, kind of the product life cycle, natural product life cycle as well, right? So they give us a lot of different perspective on the product development concept, right? And those help me as well.
Is there something you wish you would have learned though that maybe you think you didn't focus enough on?
I wish I have more time to kind of mingle with all my classmates, I would say. Yeah, and I think like a lot of folks, MBA student will tell you like job hunting is one thing, but kind of build a good rapport with your classmate and senior classmate is also very important, because eventually the school alumni like web will help you get more future opportunities, right? And I think at some point I was so focused on kind of on the curriculum, on my class, and also on my job hunting. So I don't think I invest enough of my time to kind of keep connect with all my classmates. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you'll go to more parties if you could.
Not only more party, but more like a leisure event, I would say.
Parties are leisure events. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you've been in the tech industry in a few tech companies in California. So as far as just getting into tech companies,
Yeah.
a lot of that's, the most common career goal now. It used to be consulting and finance. Now
Yeah,
it's really
interesting.
turned into tech, not just at the tech focused MBA, but most of them. So just for people who want to get into this industry, maybe they don't have any tech background. Is there anything you'd like to share, or just something they may want to be aware of?
Having a tech background will definitely help you, because it's a tech company, right? A lot of managers have either an engineering degree or
Yeah.
they have engineering knowledge from their working experience, right?
But just
So
not everyone's an engineer like you, though.
yeah,
So
yeah. So I think that's definitely help, right? But for the folks who don't have engineering background, I would say like get a if your pre-MBA job is on the tech side, they will definitely help as well. Yeah, because like when even for me, right, if I'm interviewing a new hire, especially for MBA graduate, right, we tend to also focus on his or her previous working experience before the MBA, right? Because we don't want a pure career switcher, just to be honest, right? Because we want someone who has a rough understanding on how the tech industry works, right? So if you coming from a tech industry, maybe just a sales, right, from a business or international or English language like degree, right? But if you have been to working on some of the high tech company, right, then you might have more common language with us, right? And the chance you will get higher will be higher. If you don't have engineering background and you also don't have a tech company working experience
yeah, not
before MBA,
everyone will. Not
yeah,
everyone will.
yeah. Then, like I said, right, you definitely want to consider like some schools that are focused more on, or their graduate have more like employee rate with the high tech company, right? And those I see when I apply for MBA, those are more like a supply chain focus or operation focus, right? So a lot of school like ASU or Michigan State or I think like Ohio State, yeah, or Michigan, UC Michigan, they all have a lot of operation or supply chain focus curriculum. Yeah, yeah. So those will help. Yeah, because I work in a high tech for in US for 4-5 years already, right? So I know, like I said, like a lot of product marketing job will be taken by the folks who are native English speaker, right? That means like as an Asian or as a Taiwanese, you won't get those, but you need to be really good at English and you need to spend time to, you probably need to read a lot of English or American books or movies to get the cultural like depth, right? Like required to be a product marketing guy, right? But I do know some like American Asian folks, they don't have engineering background and they got the job at Amazon as a product marketing folks. Yeah, so it's not like impossible. It's just like the hurdle you have to jump through will be higher, right? Because you don't have engineering background and you are looking for a high tech company, right? Yeah. So
And for people who want to work like supply chain analyst or sourcing,
yeah.
is there any particular skills that you think they should really focus on?
Yeah, yeah. So I think like on the operation or supply chain and sourcing, like you will deal with Excel sheet a lot of time, and that means that you need to be good at crunching numbers, right? That means that you need to remember all the like face word on Excel or on the formula side, but you need to be good on dissect the number, right? That means that you need to be good at analytical. You need to be analytical. That's one thing, right? And also you need to be data driven, right? So it means like a lot of your decision was need to be backed up by a solid data, right? Or fact, right? And when we say fact, it means like those are like the data driven like suggestion or recommendation, right? So that's that, and actually MBA can help you on those, right? A lot of our MBA classes was centered around like a statistic or decision modeling. Those are all about honing your analytical skills, right? So if you don't have that, you still have a chance when you study in MBA. Yeah.
So they'll develop as many data skills as you can, and also the tools like Python and SQL as well.
Those will definitely help. Yeah. If you can write some like simple like code on Excel or on analytical tools, those will definitely help. Yeah. Table stuff like that as well. Yeah. But not all the operation job are the same, right? So some of the operations job like forecasting, demand planning, or supply material management, right? Those are very analytical and like the tool you mentioned will help, right? And the one I'm working on, sourcing or commodity management, then you will probably need more. Yeah, you probably need to be more familiar with the commodity you own, the industry you are dealing with, right? Yeah, those are probably not purely analytical. You also need to have some business like skill set, right? You need to understand the financial report from each company. You understand their annual revenue. Are they making money or are they losing money, right? And are they a private owned or have they been through IPO or are they planning to go through IPO, right? So those like skill set, yeah, will be necessary as a sourcing or commodity manager, right? Yeah.
And for those engineers out there considering MBAs, can you give them an idea of other like common job titles that MBA graduates, engineers who are MBA graduates get?
Okay. Yeah. I think like I would say because I know a lot of engineering background MBA graduate and most of them will end up one is my kind of like EPN or TPN, right? They are kind of similar to me, right? EPN is engineering program manager, right? Or project manager. And then TPN is like technical program manager, right? And I think
Okay.
they're usually doing similar stuff. They are kind of managing the technical side program schedule for a product, right? Yeah.
Mm.
So you will interfacing with software, hardware operation, and all the or even the engineering on your contract manufacturer side, right? So this is one area I think a lot of technical background MBA will end up with, and the other will be the operation PN or like a GCM, right? Like what I'm doing, right? Operation PN will be the one who manage the overall CM size schedule, right? So TPN own the program, right? And you own the day-to-day interfacing with software, hardware engineer, right? And the OPN own the schedule on the manufacturing side, right? So you were dealing with our contract manufacturer, and then make sure they deliver the device per our request and per our schedule requirement, right? So that means that you have to have a lot of contact with folks on across the Pacific Ocean at night, and
At
yeah,
night.
and
Yeah.
yeah, at night, yeah, because it's the daytime in China, right? And then
Mm.
you will make sure they prepare the material at schedule and then manufacture the part at our requirement. I think these two, and then the third one will be the GCM slash uh, sourcing manager, like what I'm doing now, right? This one
GCM
will
is what?
GCM stand for Global Commodity Manager.
Okay.
Yeah. And then sourcing manager is like similar, right? It's just like you are sourcing the component or technical solution for the company, right? So you own the the commodity, right, across all the company portfolio, right? So for example, I'm owning the connectivity solution, right? So it means I have to source the right solution for Wi-Fi, for Bluetooth, for all of our company products, right? So I will have to look through the supplier roadmap and then try to align the right supplier solution with the right product inside Amazon. Yeah, so that's I think these three are probably the most prevalent popular job for the engineering folks post MBA.
How about product manager? Would that be more difficult?
Yeah, a product manager is more like product marketing related. Yeah, it will be more difficult. Like I said before, one is like English is by default, right? You have to be not only fluent, you need to understand all the marketing jargon, and then
Mm.
all the marketing trends, and you will have to interact not only with the supply side, right? The product marketing folks will interact with the customer side. When we say customer, it's like Amazon's customer, right? So you need
Mm.
to figure out the end customer needs, right? And a lot of those was done by marketing analysis, right? So you need to like kind of prepare some marketing questionnaires that can dig out what the end customer wants, right? And those skill set will require a lot of cultural understanding and also a very easy to understand questionnaire, right? So it's probably not the best alignment with the engineering background folks, but
Mm.
I do see some folks that they end up transfer to the product marketing side, right? But they usually started with like the previous job I mentioned, right? And
Okay.
and they stay at the Amazon, right? And then at some point, or probably 2-3 years down the road, you can switch to product marketing
Mm.
if you really feel passionate for it, right? So let's another thing we can discuss, right? I think that with all this working experience, I think like the best recommendation would be you only switch one at a time, right? You either switch company or you switch the job scope, right? So you can say I want to be from GCN, like global commodity manager. I want to switch to a product manager, right? Like kind of from operation to marketing or marketing strategy side, right? But you stay within Amazon, right? So your successful rate or survival rate will be higher because at least you understand the company like process, right? And you just need to be familiar with the new job scope, right? But if you switch both at the same time, right, means that you come from global commodity at Amazon, you want to switch to product manager at Apple, right? Now you need to deal with the new job scope and then the new company culture or company process. Then you might not survive because the learning curve will be much like steeper.
Right.
Yeah,
Huge learning curve. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that they also apply for MBA, the first job post MBA, right? Because like if you switch company or job industry and then the job scope, like right, you need to learn on both sides, right? But if like what I did is I stay at high tech company, right? I understand how or in general how high tech company work, right? The mindset like non-stop 24 hours, right? And at the same time, I switched the job function, right? I was an electrical engineer, and then I become a more like operation folks. Yeah. So I switched the job, but I still stay in the same industry, right? So that might help, right? If you want to do career switch, you probably want to do one step at a time, right? You don't want to just go too aggressive. Yeah.
Makes sense. You don't want to set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
And speaking of Amazon, a company that's hiring MBAs graduates like crazy. Can you tell me like what do you think they're looking for in the people they hire?
Yeah, so that's good things you mentioned, right? I think a lot of company, especially the American or US company, right? They have their own like company leadership principle or stuff similar like that, right? And I would strongly recommend whoever want to apply for the new company look for those. Yeah, I think like in Taiwan or in China, a lot of company they put a very unrealistic goal or a leadership principle, and they don't really follow those on their day-to-day life, right? But a lot of US company they do what they say, right? So like Amazon also do that, right? So Amazon, I think the first leadership principle at Amazon, it's a public information. You can look on the website or just Google it. I think the first leadership principle is the customer obsession, right? So Amazon is not obsessed for the employee, right? So we don't provide the best like working environment. Yeah, but we are very obsessed to provide the best customer certification product, right, or service to our end customer, and that's how we are successful, right? So I think like if you can really understand that mindset, then you will be very successful doing the interview as well, right? I think like other company might treat this different, right? Apple is on the opposite side, right? Apple generally, if your customer don't understand what they want, but Apple somehow has the way to kind of create part they really want, but they don't know, like before Apple release, right? So Apple would put cost on a secondary on top, and then they will focus on the true like product they will amaze their customer in the future, right? So with that means like the company culture will be different, right? So Apple will be more focused on the aesthetic side of the product. So the industrial design or the advance on the technology will have higher priority on Apple culture, right? So they might have think things differently, right? And those will impact the interview question as well, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think like the first thing is like look for the leadership principle or the company culture like public information, and also look for a lot of a lot of website. Those you can see a lot of review from the internal employee, right? Those will help you as well.
Okay, glad you're succeeding so far. I know it's a intense job, but I can tell you're really doing well and enjoying it, which is great to see. I also can see that you're enjoying your life in the Bay Area for the most part, especially before 2020. But even though you enjoy your life in the Bay Area, but I still think, you miss Taiwan. You're
Yeah.
a Kaohsiung born
Yeah.
and bred, but also lived in central Taiwan when you were working. But maybe you could tell us what you miss most about Taiwan.
I really miss the convenience, like the city in Taiwan offers, right? Like in Taiwan, you get a lot of 7-Eleven or Family Mart on every corner of the street, and you literally just need to go down and then walk like 100 steps, and then you can get all the stuff you need, right? And in US, everything need to be drive. Yeah, you need to drive car, and then usually it's like at least like 15 minutes one way, right? To just get a boba tea, right? And that's the one thing I miss most in US, right? Because yeah, I have to drive 15 minutes one way and then to get a boba, and then drive another 15 minutes back, right? And then in Taiwan, you just go to the street corner and then you get it like right away, right? And the other thing is like I think that I miss the nightlife like we have in Taipei or in Kaohsiung, right? Like nightlife, not like just not like the club, like clubbing, but more like a night market, right? A lot of finger food, like kind of cluttered together, and then you can bring your family and then just pick whatever food you want, and everyone can pick their own food, and then you can enjoy the food on the street, or you can bring the food back home and then enjoy it together, right? And in US, that means that you have to buy each one of them from a different stores. And it
And
might
drive
be like,
15 minutes to each store, right?
yeah, it might be like 4 hours the tour to just get all the food that everyone want, right? So it means that it's impossible to like cater for everyone in your family in a meal. Yeah, so it's like you have to compromise, like you get one food per meal, right? And yeah, so it's very different environment, right? And yeah, so I do really miss the convenience store and then the night market in Taiwan. Yeah.
Well, I hope you can come back and enjoy it soon. And I hope we
Yeah.
can continue this conversation in person next time in
Yeah.
Taipei. Okay, thanks for sharing, Alvin. Really appreciate it. Take care and be
Bye
healthy.
bye. Bye bye.
Bye.